up a seat at the bar to join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Host Tanzan, Maggie, and me bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 9.15, Weed Killer, where we are covering the novel Summer Night. My name is Tanzan, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello.
And Jess.
Golf. Last week was supposed to be Sierra, not golf. I can't spell and I can't do math. This week, golf.
Chapter 20. Harry battles it out with the Chlorofiend. In a desperate move, Dresden uses a wind spell to knock the monster under a set of metal shelves, temporarily detaining it. Harry joins back up with Murphy, and the two head back into the store.
Okay, so since our last episode, you've been to a Walmart. Are you okay with the way that a Walmart is?
I did not go mention the garden center, though.
How tall were the gates?
Can we confirm they could trap a Harry Dresden, though? You are okay with that?
No, it wasn't the trapping. It was just really how far would he have had to climb? I mean, it's still awkward getting over a chain link fence. It was just, did he really have to climb, or is it like almost at his height and he just had to, get up and over it?
That would still be a climb, though.
But not as much as if it was like 10 feet and still twice as tall as him. Regardless. Anyways, yes. Whatever. I still have a couple of issues with it, but we'll get to that, I'm sure, as we...
Walmart logistics, I love it.
Well, okay, but so even, because when they passed the ghoul going, so he's like, we exited out, because I double-checked that, too, and I was like, were they still in, like, just the garden section inside? But he's like, no, we went out the doors to the garden center. So how come there's an extra chain link fence gate in the separate fenced-off chain link garden center? Because they were in the garden center when they fought the ghoul, and then Grum came out, and then they split up, and then he ran around the garden center into this section of it, and Grum slammed it and locked him in.
Okay, so the way that I picture it is there is a garden center inside the Walmart, and there are doors for the nice summertime months that open out into an outdoor area.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe that's what, but just upon re-listen to it,
but those
he says they went...
They're just metal fences. You could just you could close them wherever you wanted to if you are super strong. Okay, it's just metal fence.
Except he says...
The Walmart is still a thing.
Well, she brought it up. It didn't have to be.
I didn't think it was going to be a thing. I thought she would just accept it and be done with it. I didn't realize she still wanted to fight about it.
I'm not fighting. I'm just... This is where we were... This is... I was listening. I was re-listening again to this part because we're not done. And then I was like, well, maybe it was like a thing. But I'm like, I very specifically was paying attention. And it says that they went out past the ghoul/employee through the doors into the garden center. So if it's just that seasonal section of the store, the whole store is open. There's no blocking off. You don't go doors into the pharmacy. You don't go through doors into the toy section, right? So this, to me, made it sound like they have exited into that outside where it's all the chain link. But now the baby trees are so important that they actually need a separate gate that you can close, because it said he closed the gate and twisted the lock. He didn't just he didn't just bend the fence around. He's like, he shut it and twisted the latch so that he couldn't open it and come out.
And yes, there's two outdoor garden centers, and they've got a fence between them, okay?
This is just an extra locked-in gated set within the locked-in gated area.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. He doesn't need Murphy to hang around. He's a big boy. He can look after himself. And then Chit starts making noise, and he's like, damn it, Harry, when will you learn to keep your mouth shut?
He gets shaken around like a maraca. That's pretty funny. He does wear a lot of jewelry.
Okay, but the opening of this is like I remember just howling the first time I read this, too.
Oh, the plant the plant monster. No, wait. I couldn't possibly refer to that thing as a plant monster. I'd be the laughingstock. The Chlorofiend lifted me up and shook me like a set of maracas. Yeah, I laughed pretty hard at that one, too.
Plant monster. I can't. I can't. Chlorofiend.
Dresden knowing he has to go and report all of this to Morgan at the end of this book.
You know, and again,
All right.
just detailing his escapades, right? It's like... But I love how, you know, he's like, it's not just like he comes up with, he's like, something I heard Bob throw out, so it's totally got to be a thing. This is totally legit, like, Latin scientific term for it.
So I'm waiting for even further down the road when we meet the real Chlorofiend. He's like, I hear you stole my name for some stupid plant monster.
Yeah, right. It could just be that whole, you know, subspecies of, you know.
Dresden manages to throw his shield bracelet around himself just before the Chlorofiend tosses him into a fence. I think without the shield, it would have broken my back. Wow.
Yeah. Would not want that.
No.
He didn't really bounce off. Like, wow. Good for you. But yeah, not doing good.
Luckily, when you're fighting this thing and throwing it around into all sorts of different metal constructs, helps you realize that it's part of the Fey world when he starts burning a little from touching these metal fences and aisles and
Shelving. Yeah. He starts trying to fling some stuff at it. And, notices that it starts going zappy. And he's like, aha. So then he figures he can just do that. And I love how he's still sort of doing, it's not quite the marbles on the floor, but he's still just like, you know, the flinging shit off the shelf. Trying to, you know. But yeah, basically has to drop everything else. Because he's like, so he's still got, again, the concentration spell up on his mind fog, which again, make yourself a damn charm, Harry. So he can't do the concentration spell on like his shield and stuff like that too, and he needs to gather whatever else. He basically lets runs fast enough to try and get away from it, such as he can, and then puts everything into this big massive wind spell, which is a bigger one than we've seen him do, because it's not just the little Ventus Auritus that we normally see. He gets some Ventus going thing, and brings the whole entire fucking racking down on this thing. So yeah, because he's like, and he kind of makes a good point, because he's like the shield isn't helping me a whole lot. This thing's still pounding me around. Like, yes, it's preventing broken bones otherwise, but it's still not. And he's like, if it just keeps going at me, it's going to fail anyways, right? So he's like, It's either going to catch me and I'm going to be dead, so it doesn't really matter. I might as well just give up on it and try and push everything into this and hopefully get ahead of the game. Otherwise, I'm hooped anyways, right? But yeah, manages to finally bring the whole thing down. But it's
Still not good enough.
Still not good enough. As he puts
Those
it
are temporary
down.
at best.
Yeah, so which again, right, like, it's the things like this that help give you a bit more, you know, because again, I'm all like, oh yeah, plant monster running around, you know, little trees, and he does say it's, like, bigger than Grum, and again, in the apartment he established that the ogre was around 12 feet tall. So, okay, that's almost double Harry, because Harry's just a little under 7.
So he's taller than the fence?
So he's taller than, so Grum's gotta be taller than the fence.
How tall is just a regular Walmart, though?
That's it. We're going to Walmart.
Those things are like 20 feet high, man. Which is funny, because I have actually been involved in the construction of a Walmart, so I know the...
Clearly not the garden center.
No, I was just going to say, really, it was not the garden center, obviously. But the inside ceilings are really fucking tall. And this thing, he says, is bigger than the ogre.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That's
and I
huge.
tend not to, like, I don't know, in my mind just automatic. Because again, I tend to sort of envision Grum more often in his original introduction as the thug. I tend to picture him more as like a big burly dude in the bull, you know, as opposed to a 12-foot tall ogre, right? So I don't like maybe sort of as big, but I forget to sort of like double him
Scale
above
him up.
Dresden. Yeah, and then same thing, like, you know, you see this, I imagine some kind of, you know, anthropomorphic Christmas tree thing shape. And again, most of our Christmas trees, because we have to fit them in our houses, are like 7, 8, 9.
It makes Murphy sound like a complete midget if you put her into the mix then too, because
my
she's
God, 5
little.
foot.
She's gonna come up to its knees.
So if you took Murphy and stacked her on top of Dresden, they'd almost be as tall as Grum.
Yeah.
Because he's 12, she's 5 foot, and Dresden's almost 7 foot.
Right.
So you literally, like, Grum is like an entire Murphy taller than Dresden.
Wow.
Yeah. Right?
That really puts it into perspective. Thank you.
I know, right? You're like, when they talk about her, like, you know, like coming up to their knees and shit, but it's like, no, literally on this guy, she's like literally knee high to an ogre. You know, it is like... And this tree thing is actually bigger than that, right?
Rockefeller Christmas tree.
Yeah, right? So it's like, oh, crap, man. You know, so again, I'm like, yeah, I guess actually, because you think, again, I am familiar with how big and heavy the Walmart racking is. So that you would think like that's gonna take down, you think your little fir tree out in the backyard or whatever, you're like, yeah, you dump a thing on that, but then when you're like, oh, I guess when it's like triple the size, like you're getting 15 feet probably at least, I don't know. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe even a big racking like that would not necessarily
Right. I don't think I got the scope of the size because of how it was described, how it was being created with using small shrubs and small trees. I think small fiend.
Yeah, again, like comparable to Dresden, but not like
I've got like giants
Godzilla
in my
size.
head, and I've got dragons in my head. Everything else is much smaller. Nothing else can be as big as a dragon or a giant in my head. Everything else has to be human-sized.
Just about
Outside of
right.
those two things.
And yeah, and I mean, I think I sort of flip back a little bit, on reads of it, because when he does occasionally, you're like, oh yeah. But again, I've never really exactly like stopped to think, wait a minute, just how fucking massive is this? Like this thing is, especially like you say, when you think they're all flailing around, and it's like grabbing him and tossing around. I'm like, that's like us, like, grabbing like grasshoppers or something. I don't know, maybe a kitten or something. But you know what I mean? Like when you suddenly put it into, it is dark. Well, okay, I'm trying to think size-wise, like what would, you know what I mean? Because, like I'm not grabbing an ant and picking it up and like flinging it against the fence. I'm like, there's not that much dexterity if you're that much bigger than it,
And really, the ant would be fine.
And the ant would be, you know what I mean, right? But you're like, okay, I guess maybe something, in relation to like, something the size of like a kitten or something. I was like, I guess, big enough you can get your hands on it, but you're still hugely bigger than it. And
right.
so he manages to bring all the stuff and crap, and it's big and it's heavy and there's a bunch of steel. Not 100% to take this thing actually completely out.
But pins it.
But pins
gives him an opportunity to try to get out.
Yes.
Figures out the fence is mangled enough that he can't get through it, so he tries to climb it.
I know. It's like, maybe he didn't screw it up that badly. Yep, he did.
And then a limping Murphy comes to Harry. Yeah, one of those bastards must have thrown a bunch of marbles on the floor.
I know. He's like, oh my God, Murph, did you get shot? Like, no, why? He's like, you're limping.
That part also made me laugh very hard.
And just the whole thing, and she's like, oh my God, that was you? He's like, well, it was a plan. She's like, that's not a plan, Harry, that's a Looney Tune. Much like Jess said last episode, you're like, blasting people with bullets doesn't, knock them back. That's just like for comic books and movies, But Murphy's literally like, that is a Looney Tune. You are.
Call a spade a spade.
So, right. So she's like, well, what have you been up to? And he's like, Dex's cage match, I won. And then you start hearing the thing shifting and grinding. He's like, rematch doesn't look good. So he's like, here, you like get like a rake or something and like, hold the bar. Because he's trying to climb out the fence when she comes in, like waving the gun around. And he just like, puts up his hands and like probably falls off the fence. So he's like, here, you can just hold up the barbed wire for me now and I'll like climb up and like wriggle through it. And she's like, dude, 20 feet from
I do like that moment next where she runs and goes get the bolt cutters and I could kiss you, I said. Murphy grinned. You smell like manure, Harry.
Yeah.
Let the casual flirting begin.
Yeah. Right.
This is really funny though, because one time me and Mom got locked out of a car and we had to call the locksmith, and he comes and he just goes to the other window and like flicks up the side, like right through, like, I don't know, it was very easy what he did. He just had like the slightest little like stick and he just flicked it through the window and opened. We're like, oh yeah, I guess we just could have gone to any of the stores around us and asked for a stick. Could have easily gotten like anything to do that, but it's just like we were both just like, only way to do this is a locksmith. There's no other thinking that we can do. And Harry's just like, we're gonna need a rake, we're gonna need to pop this open,
in all
pry it
fairness, because the windows were cracked like a little bit, I did try like pushing down on the window to see if I could get it to give and go down, but yes, I did not think it would be that easy to like jimmy the lock on my car. Although I will say, at least it doesn't end with he just went around to the passenger side and opened the door. The car was fully locked.
It was fully locked, but like he literally just stuck his stick through the window and like tapped up the
managed to hook the lock. I was like,
extremely easily.
Yeah, I was
5
like,
seconds.
Fuck, we should have gone and bought like a fly swatter or something.
Yeah, but they're professionals. They're supposed to make things look easy.
Yes, that is true, but it was still frustrating.
So, we were basically like, the only way to do this is to get a rake and a handyman, and they're gonna have to jiggle for them. No, just go get a stick, idiot.
No. She's like, no, bolt cutters, let me just get you out of there. So snip, snip, snip.
So Murphy does tell Dresden about the shooter covering the exit, and Dresden figures that Grum is probably watching the back, which is fair assessment.
Yeah, when they're all... And I like how they just have to come back to it one more time too. Murphy's like, she's like, when it starts making noise, and he's like, yeah, we gotta get this, like, getting out is still our first priority, like, we gotta move. And she's like, what is that thing? He's like, Chlorofiend, and she's like, a what? He's like, plant monster.
Idiot.
Oh, okay.
Who doesn't know what that is?
Yeah, right.
Fuck Murphy.
I have to tell you anyways, aren't I? Fuck. But yeah, she's like, we're going to basically just be like pop-ups in a shooting gallery kind of a thing, like with all this fog and the store all lit up, like we're going to come out against the whole thing, right? He's like, all right, I got it. And she's like, this better be better than fucking Looney Tunes plan.
That's all, folks.
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at patreon.com/freeflowrambling. Chapter 21. Dresden and Murphy fight off Grum using conventional methods, but Murphy gets injured during the attack. Harry goes to get the Blue Beetle to get Murphy to safety, but is forced to deal with the Chlorofiend. Dresden retrieves Murphy and has to deal with the final attack from both the Fiend and an unknown gunman. They survive the ordeal and are able to make their escape from the scene.
So, my favorite part about Harry and the fairies is when he, like, instantly puts himself Shakespearean. He always is just like, he cannot talk to them without making himself do the I, V, U, therefore, arts, I. Yes. It's just very funny that, like, he puts up with that as much as he does. Because normally Harry's just like, fuck you, I'll talk how I want. But it's like, when it's these guys, he's like, verily, fool, the
archaic old language.
Yeah.
Yes. Get thee from my...
Get thee to a nunnery! I mean, that's not it.
Oh, stand me from thy path, lest I grow weary of thee and bereft thee of thee life. Thy life?
The fact that you just said that without looking makes me mad. That's a weird sentence to have memorized.
We've been on this book for a while. I've listened to these chapters every night. Plus, it's just fun. Lest I bereft thee of thy life. But yes.
I'm going to say that when I kill you.
He's going to...
No, you can say it for me, because you've got it memorized. What's my line?
Please do not bereft me of my life.
I love it.
I will be the one to kill you one day. That is my right.
I don't doubt it. So Grum's basically like, whatever, puny mortal. Like, your spell flame doesn't worry me. Like, we already proven it does. Jack all. And meanwhile, Murphy comes, like, because he kind of takes notice of Murphy first, because she comes out just ahead, but she's got, like, the car blanket wrapped around her, and she's hobbling along on her wounded leg or whatever, and then that's when Harry starts all speechifying, and so he kind of ignores Murphy and goes back to Dresden and is like, oh, please. And while he's making this whole big show of it, fucking Murphy drops the blanket and rips the cord on a chainsaw.
I love that moment. It's just like not.
This is like everybody's fantasy, right? We're
nothing
all like,
by halves here at all. Like,
right? We're all like, when the apocalypse comes, I'm fucking holding up in a
Walmart with a chainsaw?
Yeah, because, right, you got everything, especially the American ones, because you even have, like, your booze and everything and your firearms there. But yeah, exactly. They're just taking advantage of, like, she's like, let me go get some bolt cutters and get you out of it. Well, let me just go grab a chainsaw,
There was, like, that article that came out a few years ago of, like, 2 teenage boys managed to get themselves locked inside a Walmart and ate everything. Huh. Basically, yeah, like, they just, like, went ham. They're like, obviously we're hiding and just trying to be idiots, and they fully got themselves locked in, and they were like, great, it's all ours.
Right?
And they, like, just went through the fucking junk food aisle or whatever like that, right? Had the time of their life.
That's hilarious.
Right?
I bet.
I mean, like, yeah, like, you locked my children in a Walmart. I'm not paying this bill. Be more responsible next time. Yeah, like. So, yeah, I very much like, free pickings. You want a chainsaw? You got a chainsaw.
Well,
and
yeah, right.
Very Fallout 4, where it's just like, blonde lady with a chainsaw. Let's go.
Oh, God, and she gets into the back of his knees, too. What an awful description.
Oh, I know, it's gross. But I love how, too, it's like the cop, and she's like, whatever, but I'm like, oh, this must fall into that whole, self-defense, like, apocalypse mode kind of a thing, She's like, yeah, I'm totally just, like, stealing shit from the wall. I mean, I'll leave it all here. But, she's just like, whatever, I need to survive this situation. I'm going to use whatever.
She's thought of this stuff
right?
before.
It's like Boy Scout, It's like wise in the use of all resources.
Tactical planning.
Right?
What would happen if I got stuck in a Walmart? Clearly, chainsaw.
What happened if I got stuck in like Willy Wonka's factory with like cable? I need to figure out how to do this shit.
I simply would not try to drink from the chocolate river, first of all. Yes, Murphy a la MacGyver.
Yes. And yes, it's gross and it's ew and it's just the way she's like, it just chews across the back of this.
When ectoplasm, when it goes away, the chainsaw will still be brand new, right?
It'll just box it up again if it weren't for
I was
the
gonna
gas
say, I
in
was
it.
like, it won't be covered in blood if it's just covered in ectoplasm, right? And if you used it on the Chlorofiend, it's supposed to cut through wood, so that wouldn't make it all gross and bloody, right?
Maybe, yeah.
So maybe by the end of this,
but-
like, other than the fact that it's cut out of its tags, it should be good to go.
I don't know that Grum would be ectoplasm though, because he's
From the Never Never,
He's from the Never Never.
but he isn't a construct. I don't know how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because it's the magical constructs that do that, isn't
It's
it?
well, because
Well, not real things turn to ectoplasm.
Yeah,
and
because he's
he's a
talking
real
about like the
person.
dust and stuff. Because when Murphy's like, "Oh, that stuff is just goo," and he's like, "Well, when the magic is inhabiting it, it's as good as real. But when the magic is not," and then he's like, "Sometimes there's going to be anyways, because like dust and things." So and I guess dust from the Never Never is still.
And Grum doesn't need magic to keep himself in form.
But everything that Harry's tried to kill from the Never Never has turned to ectoplasm. So if they successfully kill Grum, will he
Usually,
then turn into
eventually-
ectoplasm?
I'm thinking,
Or do the
yeah.
fairies have to come, like, retrieve his body before the mortals find an ogre in their Walmart?
I'm trying to. Yeah.
I guess that's when SAI would be called, to be like, we found an ogre, and they'd be like, it's just a guy in a Halloween costume, guys, you're all good.
Well, yeah. This
Or he
is.
turns into little ogres and run away.
So this is a good, because I wonder sometimes, because there are things like obviously SI does find things around sometimes, but are they usually
That's why
in the
they
process?
exist.
Because he's like like fairies steal babies and like trolls live under bridges. But you're right. Are they usually finding the actual corpses or just the human reality
Presence
kind?
of.
Because like you say, like I was just gonna say about the dust. The dust isn't. I mean, does it exist in the Never Never? Because there's magic, because he's saying, like, if some of that comes through, if you open a portal, there's going to be a little bit of goo. But I'm like, well, nobody's really, like, magically infusing the dust. It's just part of the Never Never that came in and then got cut off from it. So I'm not sure, right? Because part of me is like, just Grum is the embodied, he is that being. The troll is in the real world. But yeah, I don't know then, being that it is a magical being from there, would he completely resort to?
We might have to look for little examples.
I was like,
later,
I'm sure there's examples that will have to come up whether or not we get a body or not at the end of the fight. But I gotta, remember to be thinking about that. Because off the top of my head, I can think of a whole lot of guys who's fought, can't remember where their body dropped.
Yeah. Right.
Or just go on our Discord and tell us right away.
Oh, they will tell us.
They always do. They
Oh, by the way, it's this.
have you been in the Discord lately? Because they have got lots to say about the Walmart construction. Yeah. There's been comments about.
I've seen sort of that headlines. I haven't had a chance to go in and
One of
read
them's
it all.
actually going to go to a Walmart and take video. See, this is actually what it looks like.
I know there was one comment that the Lowe's fences are definitely that high, but she wasn't sure about the Walmarts as such. And so yes, I have.
We know some
I
of
have
you
seen-
are specifically in Chicago right now. Go to your own Walmarts. Quick, before they transfer over to the non-garden center time of year.
So Harry was over at the Rothschild Hotel. Murphy, he established, lives in Buckstown. So you have to find a Walmart that was within 20 minutes of each of those places, because that's where they met up in that time frame. So you can go and find the specific Walmart.
Your
that they
mission,
met.
should you choose to accept it. So Grum falls to the ground, but continues chase from a prone position and manages to unfortunately injure Murphy.
Crawls after her and trips her up by the leg anyway, so wrenches it further.
Yeah.
Which, ow.
But she does get away, which is good.
Yes, which again, just painful on all sorts of,
Yeah.
that's where she's got to twist and wriggle and, sneaks out, or slips out of her sneaker to get free of it. I'm like,
Butcher's going for everybody's knees right now.
Yeah, right? Right? You take out my knee, I take out your knee.
Kerrigan's all the way.
Yeah. So Harry steps back into it. So he's like, yo, hey, ugly, right? Trying to get him to leave Murph alone. And he's still got, his hand cupped around this fire or whatever, but he pulls out his left hand from behind his back, and he's got a nice big old, not to name Super Soaker, right? And apparently loaded with the gasoline. So he sprays him down. So that pisses him off, but he's like, whatever, it's not going to do anything. So his eyes are all like swollen from like gasoline in them, so he's irritated and it's gross, but he's still...
Shit burns.
That shit burns, but he's still like, your fucking spellfire is not going to do jack to me. Like, so whatever, this is just irritating. I'm still going to rip you limb from limb. And then Harry does the big reveal, and he's not just cupping magical flames in his hand. He's cupping a nice big old burning thing of sterno. And he just whips that at him, and...
Conventional fire. Way to go.
Right. It's like, good thing I have this plain old vanilla fire. So
Grum doesn't like it and disappears straight into Fairy. Fuck this shit. I'm gone.
Yeah, all was this right? Because he's all like, whatever. But then, yeah, now that he's completely doused in gasoline and set on with very real fire, now he's like, well, shit. This changes the game a little bit. So Murphy's like, great, is he gone? He's like, well, he's gone for now. For
the moment.
We didn't kill him. He just, hopped back to Fairy. So, yeah, so now she thinks she's broken something.
Yeah, she cannot move.
Yeah.
Not happening.
So she's like, it's okay, I'll just hop on the other one. And gets like 2 feet, and then she's like, bad hopping, bad idea. Nope. So Dresden's like, okay, no problem. I'm just going to have to ditch you here and go get the car, because we still got to get away faster than, like, so they know that the Chlorofiend is still coming at them at some point.
Murphy does offer her gun, and then she has her backup pistol, which of course...
Murphy's got a girl gun. Murphy's got a girl gun. She's like, I have small ankles, okay?
I do love their dynamic, that it's getting very, very teasy and pokey.
Right, it gets, and they've always kind of had this, but again, it's that good, because, even just at the start of this scene, Murphy was freaking out and getting all, right? He's like, like even when he showed up at her house, he's like, Murphy doesn't usually pass up opportunity to, like, trade barbs and things, right? And she was all, like, depressed and moody at her house, and then she was getting free, right? So exactly, this is their thing, right? This is their comfort level. She's like, okay, yeah, she's doing all right? If she can trade the jokes back and forth, she's not freaking out inside her head as much.
Right. When it also seems that with this book, the relationship between them is much lighter. Like, it's got, there was so much tension in the other one between them because of circumstances, but now it's just kind of like you see this friendship that they actually have that was only kind of hinted at before.
Because there's less of that whole shit going on behind, right? She doesn't feel like, what are you not telling me? Now she knows what he's not telling her or not, right? She's like, really?
They've bonded.
They've bonded just that little bit more, exactly. And in the last ones, yes, because as, you said before, it was kind of Dresden going into the cop cases, and then, like, as of grave peril in this one, it's Murphy coming into Dresden's cases. It's the same thing, right? Where she was all like, I hate this, I need that, what are you having, what are you going to tell, right? Whereas now it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm playing in your world now. She's like, I don't have as much stake in it. I don't have to feel like, if you're not telling me shit, it's not costing me my case or investigation or whatever, right?
Well, another point of it is that it's like, when it's even the cop world, even if it's like Murphy's got to fight against IA or whatever, she's, that's still her world, it's her people. It's kind of like, if Harry tries to butt in or anything like that, he's still fighting against cops, whereas, like, this is a little bit more like, they're not fighting against each other's people. It's like a common enemy,
Yes.
Where it's not like, Harry's like, no, I want bad things to happen to these guys, and Murphy's like, great, good.
Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm not really sure what this is, but if I just keep shooting enough bullets or throwing enough, I will take it down, right? So
like, caveat, okay, there are no Rothschild hotels in Chicago. However,
darn make-believe places.
Is said to be a hotel set up in the nice apartments on Lake Michigan, which is Googleable. And between Buckstown and the nice apartments on Midtown, blah, 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 there are 4 Walmarts. Only one of them is a supercenter, so I've chosen that one. So, Walmart in Chicago on Diversity Avenue.
What an appropriate place, too.
No, Diversity.
Oh.
Sorry, I can't read.
Diversity would have been more fun. You have your little female cop, you have your tall male wizard, you have your ogres, you have your Chlorofiend. It's very diverse, this whole
They have a 4.1 Google rating.
Not bad. Nice. I like it. Okay, folks, get on that.
Dresden tells Murphy, I'll tell you if it's me. Some of these bad guys can play dress up, so if you aren't sure who it is, why wouldn't they just set up some kind of password or something at this point? Because any of the other guys that's dressed up, hey, it's me.
Yeah, right.
Great.
Exactly. And I mean, it's also like, again, I'm like, is this for the benefit of anybody that jumped in here? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Murphy's aware of that.
Have a
that
safe word. Like kumquat.
Right? That was the whole point of her trauma in the last book, is that something showed up wearing your face. So I'm pretty sure Murphy is now very familiar with the fact that some of these things can play dress up. Thank you very much, Mr. Obvious, Captain Obvious. Like, exactly. He's like, I'll just tell you it's me. It's like, yeah, where's the kumquat? Like, it was what is the, specific that in this moment is gonna, right? So he goes out trying to find the car and hopefully not get shot. And she's like, she gives him his gun. He's all doing the, no, you keep it. She's like, no. She's like, it's been useless. And part of me's like, then why are you doing it? She's like, but there's somebody out there with a gun. If he's got a gun, then he's human. You're like, okay, yeah, fair. That's probably right. And then, she's like, well, I can't, right? And she's like, dude, I got my little backup. Like, fine. So he's like, okay, fine, takes it and goes. And then he's like, I don't really know how many shots are in it, though. So it's like, that's the other thing. It's like, he's like, okay, I'll take the gun. Because, somebody out there should. Meanwhile, he's going on about how he's not really that great a shot anyways. Because he's still got to keep his concentration spell up. And if he wants to keep his shield going so that bullet. And I mean, again, I kind of get this, but his shield does stop. But we have seen that already established, that his shield in its present incarnation can stop bullets. So I was like, I guess it's useful to shoot back, but really you know what I mean? I was like, he just has to not get killed by the gunman, or again, I don't know, maybe it's in defense of maybe if he's running low on magic and is getting out of steam, but I was like, really, it's just the incoming bullets he has to worry about more than out, but whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. But once he starts going, and he starts hearing some noises, and then he's like, oh, I'm not really a very good shot when I can use two hands, but he's like, I'm busy keeping this other stuff going with my left hand, so I can only use my right hand. Well, I don't know how many bullets I have left anyways. I was like, well, this was a real useful tool for you to get, wasn't it? It's like, doesn't this become one of those situations where they're like, you really shouldn't, because, the armed intruder is more likely to use your own weapon against you, or you're more likely to injure yourself or a loved one with, like...
I love that you were actually looking at the street view for the...
I'm just trying to see if a tree monster could fit through the doors. No, he couldn't. The Walmart Center is very small, that store.
Right? See? Thank you very much. And I mean, it's somewhat pliable because, bushes and trees are somewhat bendable and flexible. So maybe that's why it used a lot of the baby trees and stuff. That's what it'd be able to do.
Maybe they used to have a bigger garden section, but somebody took it out with a tree.
Maybe. We could not afford to rebuild it.
Chlorofiend.
So they're going out the back or whatever. They've gone past Grum, and he hears some noises or something. So he kind of wanders down and takes a look, and the fenced-in garden area is no longer all fenced in. So there's a big, 10-foot swath missing from
Fiend smash!
And he figures it's going to be all hot and burnt from, ripping it open and, bending and stretching. But it's all been, frozen and then just neatly shattered out. And so it's all very neat. It was just, they grabbed the bolt cutters and cut themselves out. Frostwise.
Right. It's very neat description how they did that with the smashed out frozen stuff.
Right. It does give you that sort of nice of it just and then ping. So he's like, and the air and everything is still cold in that section. So he's like, all right, this is a pretty big clue that it's winter.
Yeah. And the Chlorofiend is nowhere to be seen.
So he's like, all right. So he goes off in search of the beetle, which takes him a wee bit to find because it's so foggy and he can't see. And, he's like, he doesn't find the car, but he finds a bunch of leaks and spills and follows those. And sadly, that leads him right to the beetle. And he's like, fuck.
Crap.
He's like, please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. So juggles his gun and his bracelets or his shields and things like that. And it's iffy there for a moment, but the car gets going. So he starts driving around past the garden center to go to the back of the store because they'd gone out the back doors. And lo and behold, his windshield freezes up on him again, completely, instantly.
Ice crystals forming and growing like plants on a stop motion film. I just love that little description. That's this little foreshadowing moment for and a reflection of the Chlorofiend itself too, with the plant.
Yes. But again, it is just such a cool image because we've all seen that now on the crystal actually forming into a whole big thing. Looks super cool. However, terrifying. Very hard to see through. Yeah.
Hard to see through, terrifying.
Terrifying, not good. Yeah, especially like you say in the middle of June. So just the roll down the window to stick its head out.
In Canada, it's very common that you have to start driving before your windshield has defrosted because we don't have time to wait 3 hours for it to defrost, right? Most of us will start going before the windshield wiper has finished defrosting. You let the tiny little bit go, right? Enough to see through, and then you got to start driving, right?
Oh, God.
All so much into the mind.
But the problem that we normally have when we're on long drives is that it will start to frost up on you as you're driving and using the vehicle.
Yes.
That might be your thermostat.
No, like if you've got
Well,
like,
if she really has not let the car properly thaw and the air inside the car is not warm enough, then yes, as she starts going and breathing, she will start fogging it up and freezing it faster than the heater can defrost the whole thing on her.
But even on long drives, if the temperature outside of the temperature inside your car is very different, you're going to start fogging it up, and it can start. And it'll start.
So you've got the credit card to like scrape the inside of the window.
I know, but then you have to crack the window in -40, and that's cold. Saying point is that it is a problem.
Yes, he tries to stick his head out the window, and the big old plant monster comes stomping out and tries to smash the car.
Does not try.
This does.
Does.
The Beetle's hood. Boom.
It does smash. It tries to completely incapacitate and tries to smush Harry. All it succeeds in doing is roughing up the Beetle a little bit, because thankfully his trunk is at the front and his engine is at the back. So instead of flipping it like it would on most cars that had an engine in the front, he just goes a little whoomp and keeps going and manages to drive into it, which is good. That's fine. He's driving and he tries to hex it down or whatever too, right? And he keeps blasting the gas through that or whatever, makes it good old Beetle. But then as he's about to, he's like, think of this as payback for all those telephone poles. And I'm like, how many telephone? Like, I could see maybe one. Like, I know, like, obviously the Beetle has been through a lot because the Beetle is no longer blue anymore. You've had you, but again, you've already, mentioned that some of this is like monsters gouging it and things like that. I'm like, honestly, Dresden, how many times have you driven into a telephone? Like, I really hope you're saying this purely for the joke aspect of it.
Well, I wrote that down because I was like, I don't think I get it. Like, why are we, what's with the telephone poles?
Dresden drives like every day is GTA. Doesn't matter how many
This is how
fire hydrants or telephone poles you
so
hit.
for how many telephone poles he's plowed the Beetle into, potentially either getting away from things or smashing monsters between him and the, you know what I mean? But I was just like, surely there can't actually be like that, you know what I mean? I'm like, I hope you're saying this mostly just for the humor of the idea, not because you've actually, because I was like, really?
So he tears the thing apart by driving through it, which, like, for a tree, I would not. Like, again, if this was like a bush creature, great, you can drive through a bush easily. Driving through a tree, a Chlorofiend.
I'm keeping that.
I would put my odds on the tree, not the car.
And this is
he says
fair.
he's like, the mass is all off for this thing, so he wasn't able to flip the car. But I'm like, it's a tree. Trees, that's where you get mass in plants, is a tree.
Okay, yes, but he does say it's not just a single tree that got up and started attacking him. It did form itself out of a bunch of little trees, right? So it's like a Lego tree. Okay, so it's weaker. And he has said, like, there are spots where you could, like, I think when it was chasing him still before he brought the shelf down, he's like, there are spots that are sparser and less dense, right? Because it's just all of this, like, what is it?
Power stuck together.
Mighty
not
Morphin
a
Power
full trunk.
Rangers
I get
or
it, but
Voltron
I still think it would be sturdier enough to take out.
Yeah, so you got to think that maybe it's not, like, right through, like, a big solid. Because, again, the trunk on an actual, like, 15-foot tall tree would be massive. But this is just little baby trees. You could definitely snap a tree with a little driving into it with your car.
I guess
he smashes up into the dumpster, which is also why he's like, good thing it's not fiberglass, because it would have done shit. But you got a big steel dumpster and your big steel car.
At least, notoriously he drives a car made before World War II, which is, it doesn't crumple quite the same as today's cars do.
It's a mini tank.
Yeah, exactly. So I do kind of get it, but I'm like, no, I could see if you get, enough of the weak spots of where it's like joined together by things that,
that just seems too lucky for Harry. Doesn't make sense.
Well, we'll see in a moment then.
Speaking of lucky, it was the monster landing in the metal trash bin. That was pure luck right there.
Yeah, that too. I think I just thought I was never quite sure, if it was the car or because at first I thought he meant the car, but then when he says a good thing it wasn't a fiberglass, but then I thought maybe he's meaning the dumpster, that it was a big solid, because of course the Beetle wouldn't be. Either way, regardless, I guess it doesn't matter which one he was referring to. Both of them are solid steel and no good for this thing. So he zips away, hoping this is maybe finally, probably, because now that he's like severed the thing in half, like, okay, things don't survive that. And Murphy's like, what the hell happened? Plant monster, and Frosty the Snowman? He's like, yeah, I took care of it, let's go. And then the thing again comes crawling out of, dragging itself forward on its hands.
Well, the nice thing about, creating your own sentience is you can decide which half of you has sentience.
Well, right. And this is what, he starts discovering later, but...
Meddler. hissed an alien voice from somewhere near the Chlorofiend's glowing green eyes. "You should never have involved yourself in these affairs. You have no concept of what is at stake. Die for your arrogance." Villain speech.
Die for your arrogance is just like the copy and paste in the Dresden world.
Well, yes, like they do all find him kind of arrogant because he will spit in the face of all of them and never bows down. And
It's like nonstop. Die for your arrogance, die for your ignorance, die for your arrogance, die for your ignorance. Like,
you will die ignorant because of your arrogance. Yeah, so it starts like basically, grabs him by the neck and the feet or whatever and starts just like ripping him in half, which sounds hugely unpleasant. And see, this is again where I'm gonna pick nits just a little bit because when the ghoul knocked him down, he didn't have enough time, no, that was more the concentration. When Grum grabbed him in the apartment, he's like, it's too late for my shield bracelet because the thing already had a chokehold on him and he couldn't reach his blasting rod. But here, this thing again has a grip like around his neck or something like that, I'm pretty sure. And he tries for the shield. So I'm like, you were too close, you were already, couldn't do it then, but here you're going to try for the...
Desperate move?
okay, however, yeah, he does say, like, the paragraph before that he's like, my vision was blacking out, my head felt like I was trapped in a slowly tightening vice, I tried to gather forces, I was, like, he's wavering,
Grasping
okay?
at straws.
I know, but he was in the other one too, because
Nah, he wasn't nearly as fucked up in
Maybe
the
not
apartment, though. Like,
quite as, because here
this
he's...
is
but I
way
was
less
like,
sleep, this is way less power, because he's been thrown off. Like, by the time he got to the apartments, 0 spells have been
Okay,
shot. By the
but
time he
that's
gets here, he's
what
used
I
up
mean,
all of his powers.
like way less power, exactly. Like there, he was sort of like, it's too late. It's up close. I'm not going to get a shield up between me
He
and this thing
can't
that's
think,
already.
he's freaking out.
I guess maybe that's all it is. But it doesn't matter because as soon as he starts trying to get anything out of the bracelet, it gets ripped off his arm anyways. They're like, no.
And he's losing concentration and
And now, yes, between the...
getting a little stupid with the mist.
Right, now just, as you say, the blacking out and lack of oxygen combined with not being able to keep the spell up. And then, boom, 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 you get the chainsaw again.
Murphy to the
with the
rescue!
chainsaw.
Yeah.
She takes care of that, and he's kind of, he tumbles free. Like, again, like, so just how high up did this massive thing, because again, before when I'm thinking like, oh yeah, 8 feet, but you're like, again, are you like 12 feet up in the, like, that's still a pretty big drop, even for you, unless you kind of tumbled down, like, through it and it broke your fall as you went. I was like, I still think that's got to be a pretty...
Well, it's half the
I
size now.
was just going to say, I just remembered, yeah, I guess that's true. It's not full height anymore, so, okay.
Then, Murphy starts dragging Harry. They hear gunshots, and she starts dragging him.
Yeah, see that too. I was like, she was too injured to like hop or
yeah.
like hobble on her own. And I get that whole,
Adrenaline.
lift a car off your kid kind of, and I'm sure some of that is going. But again, right? I'm like, that seems like adrenaline or not, if your leg is that messed up, it's just not going to be, you know what I mean? Like, you can't will a broken leg to support your weight kind of a thing, right?
We've brought up that family friend who's just about as tall as Harry. I don't think I could drag him anywhere at full
Yeah.
peak physical condition.
No.
And then even if I was Murphy, who actually does go to the gym and work out and tries to be strong, still only 5 feet. Like, I was like, I wouldn't be able to drag him far at all. When he's dead weight like he is right now,
Yeah,
like,
not really that.
lady. And yeah, your leg is fucked up.
And that's even more because I was like, yeah, I could see maybe dragging him a little ways. Definitely he couldn't go far, but especially with this fucked up leg, I'm like, you can support yourself, and now you're gonna manage. And if you're sort of like on the ground, like if you're more sitting, I'm like, that's an even worse position to try and drag that much extra weight. You know what I mean? If she's down on the ground and not using her leg, and just, I'm like, yeah,
That's the kind of physical exercise that's going to get you bound to MAB for the next couple.
What?
I do like, though, that eventually she is just like, Harry, you got to get me into the car now. Like, that's it. I hurt myself too much dragging you over here. Now you get me in the car.
Yeah, because that's what
It
the
is
other
time
thing
to
is, because
go.
that's when the lone gunman is still out there.
Right.
So the ghoul has run off. We don't see her again. Grum, they
Fire blasted.
I'm not going to phrase it that way. Beat back to the.
Wait, now I want to hear what you were going to say.
I was about to say they beat off Grum, but they didn't. They scared off or beat back
Sent him running.
or sent him packing back to Fairyland.
And the tigress?
And yeah, I already said the ghoul.
Oh, right, she was
Took off, and then the planet fiend, but they still have this gunman that's been shooting at them, and they start getting shot at again when Murphy takes out this thing with the chainsaw and finishes it off with it like right between the eyes.
Yeah, while they're being shot at, she drags Harry to the car.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So that's why she's, and so, but then she's finally like, hey, like, come on, you gotta finally, like, I can't draw, she's like, I can't get us both into the car. I can't drive the car. I can't, like, right? So
Move it, mister.
finally gets him just enough that, yeah. And once they start getting away, then he kind of clears up a little bit more. But
So Murphy got there in her own vehicle, right?
yes,
So that's been left behind.
yes, because they met there.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'll come back another time. Once all the cops and fire department is
Have taken
cleared
down all
out
the
from-
license plate numbers to see who was in the Walmart when shit went down. Is my thinking. Like,
Oh,
she's
fair
left behind
point.
such evidence. Like,
Fair point. Oh well, not that it'll matter anyways.
I'm just like, you know,
But
it
you're
doesn't
right.
matter. But yeah, I just always was like, you're just gonna leave your car and your license plate right there for everyone to see. Because I was like, even if she lost her weapons, it could be one thing to be like, even though guns are supposed to be registered, even if she lost, like, you know, like a knife or whatever else, or her fingerprints were all over the chainsaw, or like, I don't know, like, I don't know how you're gonna get out of that one, lady.
Right.
Because like, if this was a crime scene,
If it was, thankfully though, it's not
thankfully, cops in Chicago are really shitty at their job.
because
Well, nicely, they're gonna put Murphy on the scene, I guess.
Right, they're gonna
and then
send
she's
her, and
gonna
she'll
be
be
the
like,
one to
"Oh."
be like,
I was just early on the scene.
exactly, yeah. My car was already at the Walmart. I just pulled up when you guys pulled up.
yeah, right. It's totally still warm.
Yeah,
Love it. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
that's
Don't
real
worry.
convenient.
I'll check out the chainsaw, guys. There's no actual bodies though, because the ghoul ran away. Nothing
Right, but
else.
it's still a
actually.
robbery.
It's still
A break-in.
somewhat that way, but
So
I was
mayhem,
gonna say
really?
it's mayhem. But
lot
again,
of
like at least
confused
all
people.
the people that I was gonna say they're gonna be less, and you know that'll be up to
lot of
Walmart
fucked
to
up people
figure
there.
out like, did everybody just get like drunk and have a party here last night or something? Like fucking Walmart employees, you know? Because yeah, nobody's gonna.
Yeah, nicely though, that'll be SI to come in and be like, somebody put acid in the air vents and you all got roofied while you were shopping and mass hallucinated. I don't know how drugs works. I don't know which drug would do it.
You don't, but
I'm
that's-
sure SI
That's
could
okay.
say
Why
one of
don't
them.
we just get to the next chapter and
I am a connoisseur of drugs and I know how they all work.
no, just murder and weapons apparently. Which is ironic because don't they say women are usually like 50 times more likely to poison somebody? Then thank you for being the exception, Jessica.
I would use antifreeze.
There you go.
Back to poison.
It's only traceable if you're looking for antifreeze.
Moving on. People, if I ever die, check for antifreeze.
No, it tastes like Gatorade. You'll be fine.
Dark.
I am now put off Gatorade for life.
This concludes our episode 9.15, Weed Killer. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and macanallies.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.